Hello, we are at the end of our 21-day series of live streams, and we're going to end on a really important topic that I have to help my private clients out with a lot. And so, to end this 21-day series of live streams, of daily live streams, not I'll be back, I'll be here, but we did one every day for 21 days. So, today we're going to be talking about how to set healthy boundaries at work and stop letting people walk all over you. This episode is for you if you have problems standing up for yourself and you let people walk all over you. I'm going to share my notes from one of my top rated paid classes called How to Speak Up for Yourself. I was just looking through my notes recently and I found some information that I think will be helpful for you all that I'm going to share with you for free that most people have had to pay for in the past. So make sure you stay tuned. Before we get started, remember, if you've been with me for this whole time, and if not, if you're new, my name is Yashika. I am the founder and CEO of the Lind Group, and our mission is to help leaders become better leaders and lead with impact. Lead in a way that you're high performing, do it in a way that you're not stressed out, you're not burned out, and lead in your personal and your professional life. So you're leading from your power place, is what I call it. And not only that, as well as helping like leaders one-on-one, we also go into organizations and help with leadership development. And because we are experts at what we do in our own roles, we also help organizations dramatically improve their operations and their delivery systems. So that's a little bit about me. We're going to go ahead and get into this topic today. And the reason why I had created this class, I don't know how many years ago this was, because again, like I said, I'm just kind of going through the notes that I used to develop the class. I had created it because I had a client in particular that was dealing with issues in her career because she was afraid to speak up for herself at work and even in her personal life. And I'll tell you where that stems from, but some of the things that she experienced in her career was we're always worrying about hurting other people's feelings. And so she wouldn't authentically say what it is that she wanted to say. She had great ideas, but wasn't adding value to her organization because she was worried about what other people would think or say about her. She was a people pleaser. She didn't want to have any conflict in the workplace. If you deal with that, we also had a live stream a few days ago about people pleasing. If you didn't catch it, go back and catch the replay. She underestimated herself. So think about this systemic way that someone that does not believe in themselves approaches their career. They miss opportunities. Therefore, not only are you missing opportunities to make an impact in the people that you would touch in your career, but you also miss an opportunity to make an impact in your wallet, for your future, for your family, etc. And she also just had this underlying feeling like she wasn't good enough and nobody cared what she thought, etc. So anyway, you can imagine how that would impact her being able to show up as a leader in her professional and her personal life and lead from that power place. So if you can see a little bit of yourself in her, then this episode is going to give you some tips. Um, but I want you to start to think about you now so you can see if you don't relate to her, maybe these are some things that you may relate to. Do you keep quiet when you know that maybe you have good ideas? Or maybe you already have a lot on your plate, and because you have a problem speaking up for yourself or asserting boundaries, you continue to say yes to things when you know that sometimes you need to just kind of pump the brakes and say no. Or it could be another way. Maybe for you, you are always saying no to opportunities and instances where you really deep down inside want to say yes. Um, and then I used to do this. You after the fact, you think about all the things you could have said, wanted to say, didn't say, should have done differently, but didn't have the heart or the courage to do it in that moment. So maybe you're not like my client, but maybe some of these things resonate with you. And if that is the case, then you also need to learn how to stand up for yourself and to assert healthy boundaries. Some of the causes, I want you to know what this stems from, because we have this tendency to look outside of ourselves for causes and things to blame, but we usually stop with the first thing that we encounter when oftentimes there's deeper issues that cause issues like that. So, number one, um, we don't speak up for ourselves. It could be the way that we grew up. It could be our culture. It could be culturally, our ethnicity, but it could also just be the socialization and the culture between men and women. It could just be how you grew up, other beliefs that people have had that they've indoctrinated us into, and we've adopted without really questioning. Um, and it also could be the beliefs that we have surrounding personal communication. And this comes from that conditioning, but maybe for you, speaking up is considered to be a sign of disrespect, or it's you think that when you speak up for yourself that you're causing a conflict. And so therefore you've developed these ideas that don't serve you around speaking up for yourself and not letting people walk all over you. Also, you probably have a lack of boundaries, which is why part of this, even though it's about speaking up for yourself, is about asserting healthy boundaries. And this usually stems from a lack of self image and a lack of self confidence, which leads to you devaluing and disrespecting yourself, and also allowing others to devalue and disrespect you as well. So, some questions you can ask around that could be like, maybe how were you viewed when you tried to assert yourself? Were you ever in a situation where you asserted yourself and it didn't go the way that you wanted? Those type of things happen in our early conditioning, and they stick with us subconsciously and impact the way that we show up in our lives and in our careers. No matter what this stems from, what the cause, if you do it or not, or if you're just now starting to see that maybe you don't speak up for yourself, the impact that it has on your life is tremendous. Not just the things that I mentioned at the opening of this discussion. You live with regrets, shoulda, woulda, couldas, right? You have a low sense of self-worth. You end up feeling caged in and lost. We talked about that in the last couple of episodes if you need help with that. You show up inauthentic in your life, which causes a lot of other issues. We could talk about that in a whole other live stream. Did do a podcast on that, Leading in Healthcare podcast. Check out How to Be Authentic. I think that's the name of it. If you're dealing with anxiety, resentment, feeling bitter, frustration, anything like that, it could be because you don't speak up for yourself and you lack healthy boundaries. And then it also can start to cause physical ailments, right? The heart palpitations, the literal heart attacks, the depression to where you just feel like you don't even have energy anymore to do anything. All of those could start to stem from you not being authentic and speaking up for yourself. But you don't have to feel that way, because leadership could feel light. It could feel calm. It could feel confident. It could feel freeing. It could feel like you could show up and be your true authentic self and be happy and be healthy and not have all the physical ailments. If that's what you think leadership is, or if that's what you and your peers are experiencing, that is totally not leadership. Okay, so let's talk about some ways that you can fix it. I'm going to give you a couple ways. I'm looking down at my notes because I just want to pick that class was pretty in depth. So I want to pick a few things that are really going to, you can put into practice right away to start to feel a little bit better and start to speak up for yourself. My number one tip for those of you, especially that need a little bit more time to think about things before you actually understand them. You have to process a little bit more than other people, or maybe you have this habit of saying yes or no when you should be doing the reverse. And we talked about that, meaning you say yes when you want to say no, or you say no when you really want to say yes. For those of you that struggle with that type of issue, the best thing that you could do is learn to give yourself space. Rarely, if it's not an emergency, do you have to give an answer right away. But we always feel like if we're put on the spot, we got to give an answer right on the spot, and you don't. If somebody is asking you your opinion about something, you can just simply say, let me think about it. And maybe you already know what it is that you want to say, but because you don't have the confidence, or you are just someone that processes a little bit slower, and you want to really think about what you want to say so it comes out the way you want it to be heard, maybe you just need to say, let me think about it, so that you can buy yourself time to process in that way. And if you say, let me think about it, I'll get back to you, make sure you do that. Same thing with if people are asking you to do something and you maybe do want to do it or don't want to do it. You don't have to tell them right then. Process it a little bit. Give yourself time, buy yourself some space. Let me think about it. And then truly think about it, process it. And if it's something you really want to do, it's a yes. Even if you feel scared, that's a whole nother issue. And if it's something you don't want to do, don't be afraid to say no. But usually the problem with us in this situation, especially for you people pleasers that add more to your plate, when people ask you directly a question and you know you don't want to do it, you just have this habit and this tendency of just saying yes, even though you want to say no. So for you, buying space is really going to help you out. Another thing that I like is to pre-plan a conversation when it's appropriate, um, or communicate in other means. So what this means is, particularly in difficult conversations, instead of just trying to go into a conversation blind, think about what it is that you really want to say. In some instances, I have taught leaders to write down what they want to say and not be afraid to say, you know what, I've given this a lot of thought and I have some notes that I would like to share with you. Can I have a moment to share those? Write it down. I don't know why everybody thinks they have to say things perfectly. It has to roll off your tongue perfectly. And if it doesn't, then something is wrong with you. You've sat here and saw me speak off the cuff for 21 days and stumble over my words and all of the things. And that doesn't mean that anything that I had to say to you is any less valuable because it doesn't come out of my mouth perfectly. So why don't you try pre-planning a conversation when appropriate? Or if it's appropriate to communicate in other means, meaning not avoiding difficult conversations that need to be had in person, but if there is a conversation that you can have via email and you're better at articulating yourself through writing, then perhaps an email is a better way to have a conversation when appropriate. Let's see, another one. Learn the difference between assertiveness and aggressiveness. We have a big problem in our culture with thinking that people are aggressive because they are sticking up for themselves, and I cannot stand it. So if you have been conditioned to think that people that are confident and that are assertive and that are authentic and speak from that place, if you think that that's aggressive, the problem is probably you and not them. I want to look up the word aggressive because I want you to understand the difference. Aggressive is combative. Aggressive is fighting. Aggressive is obtrusive energy. It's rude. It's forceful. So that would be aggressive. That's what you don't want to do. But assertive is having a confident personality. It's coming from an energy of being positive, being bold, being decisive, being assured. Assertive is someone communicating and showing up in a way where they respect themselves and they stand up for themselves and their interests, and they're able to express their thoughts and feelings in a confident, assured way. But for some of you, especially because your conditioning, your culture, maybe how you grew up is not used to people being assertive, you take that to mean aggressive. And so therefore you miss out on opportunities where you can assert yourself, because you think that's aggressive. And you also inherently, another topic, cause issues in your workplace because you think that people that are assertive and have worked on this and can show up in a place of being confident and self-assured and have a good, healthy self-image, show up like that, you think they're aggressive. So those are some things that you can put into practice right away. Recognize that when you are starting to do these things, that fear is okay. much like the things that we talked about, especially in last episode, if you are trying to get out of feeling lost in your personal life, when you first try these things, they're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable. You may feel a little bit anxiety and a little bit of fear around implementing them into your leadership practice, into speaking up for yourself. But just know this is like a muscle. The way that you gain true confidence in speaking up for yourself is not by gaining the confidence and then you do it. It's by doing it repeatedly through muscle memory. You then become confident because you've done it enough that you become competent at it. So just give yourself that space to recognize that it may feel a little bit uncomfortable when you first start to do this. All right, so this was our last live stream of the 21-day series. Please make sure wherever you're watching this that you are following, that you are subscribed, that you are binge watching all the things that you didn't watch, because while this series is over, I will still continue to be here giving you tips and tricks on how to be a better leader, doing live streams, all of the things. This was just something to like kind of give us a little boost, give us a little injection so that we can continue to move toward improvement for the second half of our career, in 2022, not our whole career. And if you find yourself kind of floundering, I wanted to give you this reset because you don't have to end the year that way. So I would like to hear your thoughts and comments that you have related to today's topic. Please spread the word to those leaders that may need to hear this, they may need help. And then make sure you continue to come back, set up notifications. That'll probably be better because, like I said, I will continue to spread the word, do videos. This is not the end of this. I'm here. If you want to get text reminders for when I go live and drop new content, it's probably best to get on the text list so I can just text you. And for signing up for the text list, you get a free copy of our ebook, The Top 5 Mistakes Leaders in Healthcare Make. To get on the text list, all you have to do, text the word leadership to 833-231-4407. Again, if you want to get on the list, all you have to do is text the word leadership to the phone number 833-231-4407. All right. I am so glad that you are a part of this community, and continue to look forward to getting to know you better. I will talk to you soon. All right.